what do you have in your hands there, Miss Molly
Okay,
Burnett?
we got a big package from our dear friends at Penguin Random House. Shout out Heather and Julie. Right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. We have some special box
Ooh.
sets of our girl Emily Henry, and we have a whole boatload of new books that we should dive into. The one that caught my eye the most,
Let me
I've got to
see.
be honest, I've never read a book like this. This is very interesting, but I think
Ooh.
that's
What
is
is
that
that called? Bull Moon
is that a
Rising?
bull?
I think it's
Are
a
we
Minotaur.
full moon rising? As a Taurus, I appreciate the picture, but
Okay, read me
definitely,
the back. What is it about?
it doesn't say back
It
here. It
doesn't
says
say.
praise for Ruby Dixon and her novels, the perfect blend of sweet, sexy romance and a riveting high stakes survival story.
Oh my goodness. So I'm so excited because Heather and Julie curated this really special list. We kind of told them what
Our
we were
girl.
into, but we also said we're open, but we love romance. So
Oh,
every summer after, we've
of course, we
got
both picked up this one at the same time.
naturally, that's what we do
Get
here.
out of my head. Actually, stay there. But I'm sorry.
Intercepted. We've
Yes.
got the very secret society of irregular witches. Excuse
Oh,
me.
oh. I love as a Harry Potter stan. I love a little witch lore, so I'm super excited for this one.
A warm and witchy hug of a book. Oh my goodness, exciting.
Yes.
Then we have, like you showed, Bull Moon Rising. This art and this cover, the color is
I'm
just
obsessed.
exceptional.
You
Yeah,
know
I
what it
can't.
reminds me of? Lisa Frank. Do you remember Lisa Frank?
Do I remember? Do I remember Lisa Frank?
Not the Southern
I'm
accent.
so excited. I can't help it. Yes, so it is. This is very Lisa Frank.
This one
Ooh,
looks
what's
so
that?
beautiful too.
While
While
we
we were
were
dating, I don't know,
dating.
but I and New York. We got. Oh my gosh, we just have New York Times bestsellers coming out of
Oh, so
my little studio.
exciting. And then you guys might recognize this one. We've got the special box set. We've got book lovers, beach read, people we meet on vacation. I mean, this
I
is a
love.
problem because I'm just never going to leave my bed. Because all
You
I
say
do
that
is
like it's
read.
a bad thing. I don't know.
Question, are you someone who reads like on a couch in a lounger, or do you read in bed? Do you bring books with you? What's your vibe when you're reading?
I bring my little iPad full of romance novels. Well, now I have listen, there's nothing better than an actual book copy. I love the smell. I love the paper. I'm super excited. We'll pick a couple to put on our famous bookshelf up there. Pretty soon
Yes.
it's gonna be like the whole wall, and I can't
You're
wait.
gonna have to get a case, girl. Like, and I really want one too. I've told you this, but we're working on it. Baby
Yes.
steps, baby steps. But again, thank you, Penguin Random House. We have so much to talk about.
Welcome to A Novel Bunch. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe on A Novel Bunch podcast. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Twitter, you name it. We're talking about books, so come join us.
So exciting, bunchies. Today we are going to be reviewing chapters 17 through 24. And by the way, my deepest apologies from last week's episode because we had a tech malfunction where the very last chapter that Molly and I were chatting about was chapter 16. We had a technical difficulty and her video and audio did not upload. So I took what I could that was left of it and I put it together, but it's so funny because that was literally your segment, your time to shine. I did not say one word. So on my end, all the video I was watching was like me breathing heavily into this microphone and just cackling at everything you're saying. So I'm just watching me. I gave myself the ick because I'm just like,
Not give yourself the ick.
yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. So guys, we tried to edit through that, but we're not perfect. We're just bookies,
We're
right?
doing our best,
We're
okay? We're
doing our
just
best.
little baby girls.
I'm just baby girl. I'm just a girl.
Okay, here we go. Let's dive in. We got a lot of payoff.
Girl, did
Because
we
I'm gonna be
ever?
honest. Now that we know why, I'm gonna be honest. It was a little obnoxious to me that she had such a big deal with money, and it's like okay, I understand. Money can be very frustrating and it's easy to say that if you have it, it's easy to say if you don't, whatever, all the things. But she really had a vendetta against this guy and his financial situation, and then there was an incredible payoff. Very
Couldn't agree
surprising,
more.
very
Yeah.
creative, very unique. So I just had to say that. We start on chapter 17, and we're coming off of Elle being mad at Parker for buying her favorite coffee house chain, which obviously he's doing the most. It's hot, but he's doing the most. He needs to relax. So he came over to apologize. And he comes over with a bunch of scripts for like some new hot movies that are coming out. None of her stuff because he knows that she would hate that. But she made it very clear when I read or when I watch movies, I like to read the scripts and I like to like rewind and pause and look at the writing. And like, you couldn't pay me to watch a movie with this girl.
No, I would
I
be
would be- I
so
would be.
annoyed. And they finally sleep together, but not like that. Don't get it twisted. And I just gotta tell you, this I was dying over. Yet here I am with my head in Parker's lap. He's slumped against the wall. His hand is in my hair. The script is folded in front of me and my pen is rolled across the room. She slowly rises, but Parker is a light sleeper and his eyes open immediately. Elle says, I don't want to sleep alone tonight. Then don't sleep alone, Parker says, gently pushing me back down. I let him, and then I drift back to sleep.
Just the happiest of sighs. Give me that right now.
Right? Now, I have a question. I understand they're in the very beginning of a relationship, so kind of anything goes. I mean, they're not even technically in a relationship yet. Have you ever had moments in your life that you can think of that hit you where you're like, oh yeah, I slept in a really uncomfortable position or a weird place or something that you never thought you'd do just because maybe there was someone new that you're with, like kind of like this situation. They slept the whole night on the floor.
Well, I think the most common thing is when like a guy is cuddling and they're so much bigger, so that and you like
Yeah.
like the newer in the relationship, so you're like cuddling, but you're not very comfortable, but you don't. Maybe only I do this, but like you don't want to bother them or move, so you just like deal with the uncomfortable.
You're like, I'm just not gonna breathe.
Like your arms falling asleep, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night. So that for sure.
I used to do that with my dog before he transitioned, but
Shout out
I'd be
Ben.
like, he's so cozy, Benji's so cozy, I can't move, and I would just, but yeah, I feel that.
Sweet Benji.
I know, plus a
Oh
little
my god,
baby.
I knock Eloise around all over the place.
Do you? You're like, I don't care. She's
She doesn't
lucky.
either. She'll be like,
She's so
and
big
just-
though. I love
Yeah, I
it.
know. She's a big girl. Well, she's like 34 pounds. She's a little bit of a chunk right now. It's fine. She's doing great. She's sleeping right. She's sleeping right next to me.
Oh, hi Ellie, our little mascot baby.
Yes.
So after the next day, they wake up and they go on this wild goose chase for pizza.
Love
And
it.
it's so cute. I mean, if you're in New York City and you're
Of course.
going, it's the best. And there's a place you
Best.
said was really good. What was it? Emily's Pizza in the West
Emily's
Village?
Pizza. So once again, Alex Aster found real places. Shout out her because it's always so fun if you're familiar with the part of town. It's so fun when she nails it. So Emily's Pizza in the West Village was one of my favorite spots to go to. It was so good, and they actually have an amazing burger, which is surprising. It's one of the armchair experts. It's their favorite burger in the country. So super fun. But probably my favorite pizza place ever is it's called Cuts and Slices, and my friends Ashley and Randy own it, and they have like oxtail pizza. It's the most delicious. They've gone super viral. They're super popular. It's a mess trying to get it anywhere near their restaurant because they're so popular, which is obviously every restaurant owner's dream. So shout out Cuts and Slices and shout out Emily's.
Ooh, you'll have to take me there.
Yes.
When we
When
go.
we live there, we'll go all
When
the
we live
time.
there. That's right. So Parker only recently came into his money, right? We learned this, and he bought a nightclub when he got his money.
Parker.
And Elle wants an
What a
apartment.
guy.
What a guy. She wants an apartment in Gramercy Park, and there's one specific townhome that she's been eyeing since she was very young that she always goes back and looks at. Have you had an absurd big purchase or anything crazy that you've ever done?
I mean, buying my house, I think, would be a
Ooh.
pretty absurd. I don't really buy things. I think I have a one Dior necklace that I bought for myself as like an exciting congrats on SVU to me, and a pair of Off-White Retro 1 Jordans. But as far as like big purchase, you know me, I'd much rather spend money on experiences, tickets, games, travel, whatever. So those would be my big purchases for sure.
I
What
feel
about you?
that. I mean, I guess house, since you said that.
Yeah.
I guess my ring, but I didn't really buy that myself.
You better not have bought that,
That's
Freddie.
my husband. But what's his is mine. What's mine is
Fair.
right. But I'm the same way. I just, when it comes to things, I'm not someone who's going to spend thousands of dollars. There was one pair of actual glasses that I spent like $1,000 on the frames 8 years ago, but I still have them and I still wear them. That's all
It's
I
an
wear.
investment. It's an
So
investment.
I don't know. It was again like a gift, like how you had, where I had a really important project, and I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm just gonna get this,
Love it.
and so
Love
that's
it. Every once
it.
in a while, you got to treat yourself, you know?
You
Like a
do.
nightclub or a townhouse off Gramercy.
Well, I mean, for him to be young, I feel like that's just such a young thing to do. Like, let me
Sure.
get the nightclub, bro.
Right.
Do we know how old they are?
No.
He's giving me like late 20s, and she's giving
Wait,
me.
wasn't he in 30 under 30? Like Forbes 30 under 30?
Remember, they both got invitations to the party at least, and that's how he ended up getting her name originally.
Yes,
Because
that's
so
right. Okay,
they're
so
at least
maybe
under
29,
30. Yeah,
28.
he seems like he gives older vibes than her, like just a little bit,
Yeah.
5, 6 years maybe,
Oh,
which I love.
we think she's a little peanut.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And then we also learned that Parker's dad left when he was a teen and only calls for money, and now we're starting to understand his psyche and what he's going through. Elle is Colombian, and we find out her mom passed away when she was a junior in college.
Yeah.
So,
Which is about what, when my mom passed away, I would have been, Mama didn't go to college. She dropped out to be an actor. Now, but I want to go back someday because I am fascinated and curious.
Sure.
But yeah, I went to Wagner on Staten Island and I only went for a year. But yeah, I think I would have been a junior or a senior maybe when my mom passed away. And that's a tough
Okay.
time because you're not an asshole anymore to your mom as a female. You're
Yeah.
kind of growing up a little bit and you're not, those teenage years are tough between moms and daughters because you just don't know how to handle your hormones and your mom is
Yeah.
holding on to you and you're like, oh, I'm trying to live my life. And then that kind of settles down a little bit. You go off to college, you come back, you miss her so much. So like, that's a tough time to lose a parent.
Yeah.
There's not that there's a good time to lose a parent, but
No,
yeah.
but that's a really pivotal time in life, and you're just starting to become a young adult and figure out the real world.
Going off to go explore the world, right? And to leave the nest and then to have this really traumatic tether back to the nest is psychologically a tougher thing to,
You know, one of my favorite memories that you've told me about your mom is she used to sit and go on Twitter, and she would be very defensive if anyone said anything that was not it. It cracks me up because my mom's the same way, and you know this. But
Yes.
you told me she just used to go on. She'd be like, I'm gonna let everyone know, like, you are not bullying anyone. Thank you.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, she loved Twitter. She loved Candy Crush and she loved Twitter. Now listen, it was a lung disease, right? So she couldn't, she would lose her breath. So she would have a lot of fun playing games and stuff. But yeah, she'd go on Twitter and she'd make friends with people that watched Days of Our Lives. And she would have these crazy conversations. But what was so cool is that later on, throughout the years, I've had people reach out to me and be like, your mom really helped me through my divorce, or your mom really helped me through whatever. And I just had no idea that this sweet, empathetic little angel was talking these absolute strangers through these really pivotal times in their life on Twitter.
That is
And also telling
wild.
somebody, shut up, you asshole, I'll beat you. Like, the dichotomy is very strong between her.
Fine line. We love that from Mama Burnett.
Okay, so we also find out that Elle has something called, I hope I say this correctly, but it's aphantasia, which is fascinating. And it made me think of you because you say you hallucinate when you read, like you literally have a whole movie play for you. And I kind of do too. But aphantasia is the inability to create or use mental images. So what this means is that someone with aphantasia can't visualize objects or people or places in their mind's eye, while people with aphantasia might have vivid imaginations. They don't use visual imagery as a part of their thinking or imagination process. So what's really cool is we find out she wanted to be a screenplay writer because she wants to see her writing come to life because the way her brain's wired, she can't it doesn't connect in a way that allows her to see visually what she's creating.
I wonder if people who have that, if they're not as interested in reading because they can't create the whole world. I don't know. I mean, they might be, but if I couldn't see and envision the whole world, because they call that mind blind, and it's just interesting to me because they're just, I guess, reading the words. It's so weird to me when I'm reading and I'm reading the words on a page because I literally black out. Like, I don't even know how my mind is bringing these words into my head because I'm just in such this world, and it's just this fascinating phenomenon, I suppose. It's one of my favorite things, you get to live so many different lives and worlds and stories and learn, and I think that's why reading is just the best, because we got one life, we're living what we're living, but I want to live a couple lives.
So interesting, though. And then, there's all different types of neurodivergencies, like synesthesia, where you see colors present themselves, sounds present themselves as colors. Pharrell famously has it. It's just so cool. The human brain is so fascinating, and there's so many different kinds of incredibly that's got to be why she's so creative and such a good artist, is because her brain is just wired a little bit differently.
I've also heard, too, that some people, when they're reading, they don't hear a narration in their head. And I'm curious, are you one of those people? There is a term, I do not know what it's called, but they read and they don't hear the inner dialogue. So anytime I read, I hear myself or a version of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some people don't have that. I'm like, huh.
You know what else I heard? Is that there are some people that don't hear thoughts 24/7 in their head. Like, they're not constantly thinking about, like, their brain isn't spitting out a bunch of chatter 24/7 in their brain. There are people who there's nothing.
Oh, it's just quiet and peaceful. How do we
access it? Because my brain is exhausting.
Girl, I have to write list on my notes section in my phone. You would be just horrified if you saw these detailed lists, and they're all different categories, everything from, like, house to work to books to whatever it is. On that note.
Yeah, on that note, Parker takes her on a beautiful carousel after their pizza extravaganza, and they have this beautiful, like, movie-esque moment, and it seems like they're about to kiss, and it's just this beautiful build-up, and then she vomits all over him.
Girly girl, he was legit about to kiss her, but I guess she had just too much pizza.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't go on anything that moves around a circle after you've had 75,000 slices in New York City. I don't know. Maybe that's
Have you ever had a horrifying moment like that on a date where, I don't know if it was you puked in their mouth before a kiss, but just
never puked in anybody's mouth.
Good.
Had a few.
Had a few.
Good at that.
Okay. Was it in your adult life?
No. High school.
High school, okay.
So it doesn't really count.
When I was in 8th grade, the cutest guy in school was like, I want to take you to a movie. We're going to go to a movie. And so I was like really worked up because he kept telling me like, I'm going to kiss you. So I'm getting ready. I'm in my mom's bathroom and she's got this beautiful vanity, all of her makeup, but I had showered in there and it was like really, really hot. I had just blown my hair out. And so I'm sitting there doing my makeup and I'm just getting so worked up in my head that all of a sudden I start seeing these lightning bolts in my eyes. And when I was in 7th grade, I discovered that I get aura migraines. So basically, right before the onset of a migraine, you see all these lightning bolts. You literally lose vision for 45 minutes. It is the most...
It's horrifying. It's like a kaleidoscope.
Yeah. Do you get that?
You talked me through it. Remember? I hit you up because I was in New York City.
You were driving!
And yes, it happened twice. And then one time I was driving and I had to pull over and I go, oh my God, Alyssa, I'm seeing like this guy, like weird. And you're like, it's okay, it's an aura migraine. Don't worry. I went to a neurologist. You talked me off a ledge because that is so scary.
And when you're young and you don't know what's happening, so I literally was like, well, I can't go on this date. So my mom had to call him. And cancel for me. And
Val.
Safe to say after that, I don't think we ever went to a movie. We did kiss though at one point.
Like we're still gonna get it.
That was it though. But yeah, those things are crazy scary. So for something physical that happened, that because I was just so stressed out, I worked myself up.
Oh,
to
that
go
makes
to
sense. They come from stress.
Yeah. Oh, always.
Definitely stressed.
Yeah. So chapter 18. Parker has planned a date and they start at the Botanical Gardens and then the stop 2 is Yankee Stadium, which, come on. It's so good. And when they're at the first pizza spot, he opens up about his family and learning that his mom was one of the people who never would bring like preservatives into the house. She always wanted to cook really clean for him. And so in turn, he learned to cook so that he could help her. And he kind of shared too that his dad just always was on the couch, never would help cook or anything like that. And I'm curious for you, were you someone who would cook when you were younger? Do you cook now? I don't even really know that. Are you? Same girl.
No, absolutely not. Sorry, I don't know. I am able to cook.
Mm.
I'll go through like I'll hyperfixate on a meal and I'll make it for a while and then never want to go near it again and then not cook for like 6 months. I don't know. I have a lot to offer. Cooking is not one of them.
I feel like my biggest pet peeve with cooking is you spend all this time to hopefully make a good meal, and then you have to clean everything after. The cleaning, I don't mind. The cooking, not for me. My mom, she has been cooking since she was 9. It was just a thing. Like and she's so amazing. So is my grandma. And a few Thanksgivings they had tried when I was younger to see if I wanted to learn, and I was just not about that life.
Listen, like I said, we have lots to offer. It's just that's not one of them. He's taking her on dates that aren't expensive, which I love. They're at botanical gardens, not crazy expensive. They go to the Yankees game, which in this economy is actually quite expensive. But they don't have front row seats, which they could have, so we'll buy it. Apparently, she's never had a beer before, which is interesting.
That's why I'm like, how old is this girl?
No judgment.
Some people don't like beer, though. But she doesn't seem like she's a drinker at all.
So they have fun on their sweet little date, and their last stop is in the Bronx, their like version of Little Italy, called Arthur Avenue, and they eat a bunch of bread and cannolis, and tell me how they have great bodies again.
It's fiction.
Right, cool.
Cool.
So he's planned this full day, which is very intentional, sweet things to take her to, nothing that just you can throw money at. The last thing they see is called a Manhattan Henge, which apparently is what it happens 4 days out of the year, and it's when the sun perfectly aligns with the building access of New York City, which is super cool. So I just love all of these little dates he set them up.
I do too. I actually saw videos of that a while back. It looks so cool, and I love that again he's not throwing his money at it because that was a really big problem. This is creativity, romance, and again no kissing yet. But that's okay. They're taking their time. They're getting to know each other. They're letting it build. They get to their homes, and Parker invites Elle to a party that the magazine is throwing because guess who's on the cover?
And guess where the party is?
The place they first met.
Right.
How would you feel about that if you were her? Would you be freaking out a little bit? Would you be excited?
I think at this point I'd be fine. She's holding a heck of a grudge on the gold digger thing. And now we know why. We know why, but I don't know.
I think it'd be kind of fun. Like, ooh, this is where I first saw you. Because she obviously is fixated on this guy all these years. Even if it was, oh, I hate him.
Right.
Do you?
Right. So we bop into chapter 19. She spends the week writing. She's in the zone. Reminds me of that Disney movie or Pixar, Soul, the movie Soul. But it's so cool because the premise is that a part of you goes to this place between earth and heaven or whatever when you're really locked in on your God-given skill set. So when he's playing the piano and he's just ripping, his brain is living in this other place. And it's so cool because I feel like I do the same thing when I'm filming. Like I'm very with you in the moment, but I'm not super I go somewhere else. So I just thought that was a really cool way to explain that.
Ooh, I love that. Then she's on the phone with Penelope, and, she's getting ready for this party. They're FaceTiming, and Penelope's like, he's going into cardiac arrest when he sees you. She's there getting ready. Her friend is showing her how to blow dry her hair, just all the things.
Hold on. Have we never... We're 26, 27. We never blow dried her hair before. All right.
What I'm getting from this is she truly was a hermit and she never went out. And so I guess there are little, tips and tricks and techniques you can do. But her friend's showing her. And then she straightens it. Because she's wearing like a red lip, straight hair. And I go, okay, girl. Like, we're stepping it up a little bit for little Parker Warren. And then he shows up. and he is in this tux, and she about flips because he
Sexy.
looks
Oh,
so
a
handsome.
man in a tux.
Is there
Yeah.
anything better? I love
The
that.
only thing better for me is a man in a backwards hat. Love a backwards
Ooh,
hat.
of
Men,
course.
wear your backwards hats. You look so hot, but you can't pull it down. There's an art form to it, okay? Stop wearing your hats like up here like a fucking 1980s baseball player. You got to put it up, okay? And bend the brim. Stop flat billing it. Stop it.
Dude,
Sorry.
that's the first thing Freddie does when he gets a hat. He's always just
Thank
like,
you.
okay,
Maybe
you
it's a
get it, bro.
generational thing. I don't know, because millennials seem to get it. I don't know. But yes,
So,
backwards hat and tux. Give
love
me
it. My favorite thing. So they end up going to this party for him, and before they
swanky event.
go, when he sees her, he drops his phone because he's just like, "Oh my God, she looks so hot." In his head, I'm assuming that's what he's thinking because we don't get his POV
Ever.
ever. But he drops the phone, it shatters. He's unbothered. He knows he's going to get another one, and they head to the party. So they get to the party, and when they walk in, his buddy Benson comes up that he knew from previous work that that's what I assumed that they had
Business
worked
stuff,
together.
yeah.
Yeah, business. And he walks in with these like two chicks, and he doesn't even introduce these girls to them, yet Parker is introducing Elle to everyone,
Which I love. Please, when you bring somebody, public service announcement, whether it's your partner, your friend, your sibling, your parent, when you bring somebody to an event, please God introduce them. You're being an asshole. First thing you do. Also, it'll help you learn the other person's name if you've forgotten, which I tend to do. Introduce first, always, and then move along with your conversation. It's so rude to have the person that you've come to an event with just standing there awkwardly like that. It's so uncomfortable.
I hate that. And pro tip too, if you're someone else who's in the conversation and someone comes up that you don't know, make sure you bring them into the conversation. Like explain to them, hey, this is what we were talking about, so that they're not awkwardly standing there. That's so
Thank you.
rude. And I
Thank you.
hate that so much.
Eye contact. It's okay to look at the guest, not just the person that you know. It's okay to look at let's bring everybody in on the now. Is this because we over accommodate? We're people pleasers and we're just trying to make sure everybody feels seen and heard and
I
comfortable?
just think it's important, and it's manners, and it's having grace, and
Thank you. You're right.
know?
You're right.
so none of that. Anyway, when I'm meeting someone, I always, always, always will say their name back because I forget names all the time. I'm always forgetting names. So if I'm just meeting you, I'll be like, "Oh, nice to meet you, Molly," and then I'll bring your name up again.
Does that help?
It does.
You know what? You know who really nailed it is Brad Pitt. He said he's got this like brain thing where he can't recognize people's faces and names. And I don't think that's true. I think he just said that so that because so many people meet him and think they know him because of the parasocial relationship they've created with him on movies and stuff that that's his get out of jail free card. And honestly, I want to steal it.
Something else you can say to people too that I always will say is, "Oh, it's so nice to see you," because that way, if you've met them, you're not an asshole, and if you haven't, "Oh, it's so nice to see you."
Love a hey darling, hey love.
Yeah,
Hey
yeah.
boo, hey, sweetheart, hey. I love just because then you just kind of, you don't have to worry. But I'll say this: when I'm on a set, I make sure I know every crew member's name because I just think one, they're busting their ass. You should know
Yeah,
every crew
of
member's name,
course.
and two, it's just respectful. Anyway, move back to the magazine event, and the dude that brought two hot bitches over. So he's introducing
Yes.
her to everybody. We love that, and then the girls are like, "Hey, let's go dance," and Elle is like stepping outside of her comfort zone. She goes and dances and she's having a blast and Parker is just staring at her the whole time. Then she takes a little breather. The girls are like, "We're gonna go to another party. Do you wanna come?" She says no. They leave. The guy's like, "Where are the girls?" And she's like, "They left." And she sits on Parker's lap.
Yes, because at this club, their table they got sat at, it's like the smallest little couch cushion. So they don't have seats in these clubs. And she's like, "I'm going to be ballsy. I'm going to sit on his lap. There's not much space." And so she does. What happens when she sits on his lap and she goes and gets a water? What happened? I can't remember, Molly.
Got a boner.
Literally, when I read that, I gasped. I go, "Oh."
Is that the part you gasp where you're like you're gonna gasp? But of course.
I I just wasn't expecting it, and it kind of caught me off guard. And I always blush when I'm reading, like without fail.
Me too.
I get so.
I was like, should I be seeing this? And it's like,
I
oh,
know.
you're reading alone in your room. You're fine.
I know. So she literally was going to get a water, and then she just sits back down, and all of a sudden she had a little surprise there. And so he says to her, careful. And she was like, I don't want to be careful tonight. And I said, okay. And then before Benson had left, he was like, yeah, give me a call, Elle. Like I've got a yacht. And you know, Parker, obviously he did not like that comment, but he's like, yeah, Elle's not impressed by money. And she goes, well, that's not entirely true. Sometimes I'm impressed by money. And he's like, well, when? And she's like, well, when I used to volunteer, you know, at the YMCA, if a donation came in, I used to think that was so cool. And so all of a sudden, Parker whips out his brand new phone that somehow got delivered when she was dancing with the girls.
Rich
and
people.
he's like, he's like, here, he goes, put in any website you want and donate whatever you want. It's on me. So she pulls up this website, and, you know, this is crazy for her. Can you imagine someone just saying, yeah, here, whatever you want, just do it. And she puts in a crazy number that she described as could buy a house. So I'm like, okay.
House in 2025, and where's the house?
What
is it
state?
in Tennessee or is it in California?
100. So he says, you know, put in whatever number, and she does, and he looks at it, and she goes, oh gosh, I must have like gone way too high. This is crazy. And he goes, let's make it better. And he adds another zero to it. So I'm like, are we just giving millions to these charities, right? That's what I got from that. And so she gets all anxious because she's like, oh my gosh, did I pick the right charity? And he can kind of tell on her face that she was stressed out about that. And he goes, make a list. He goes, we'll give the same amount to all of them. And I go, are you
Your voice is hilarious. Make a list or I'll give it to all of them.
Now, do you think he's just flexing there, or do you think he's being genuine?
I think a little bit of both.
Right?
I do think he gets something out of giving money away. I think he has that in him, but I think he's also trying to impress this girl.
Right? Because she is impressed by it. It's the one time she said money would impress her, and he's like,
yeah, because money does not impress her, but she did say if you donate to charity, it will. So he's like, oh, this is the one thing I can do with my money that will still impress her. And so he's like, picks 7 of them, and she does.
Now, I know you volunteer at, it's a high school, right?
Middle school.
Or middle school.
Yeah. It's called Girls Inc.
So can people donate to that? Is that something? Yeah. So when you're there, is that realistic that you'd find out if someone would donate, or is that kind of behind the scenes?
I am not affiliated with the financials of the organization. I donate my time. So I go to the school and I work with the middle school girls, and we do projects and learn about empowerment and female icons and, you know, all different kinds of really cool things. So I don't know about the financials, but if I find a billionaire today, that's who I will tell them to send money.
I love that. Do you ever show them music or songs?
Oh, all the time, but they usually know. Because I listen to J. Cole, so I'll bump some J. Cole and be like, okay, Miss Molly.
A year ago, went to a bat mitzvah, right? So all these kids are like 13 years old. And this was back during the Drake feud with Kendrick. And They're Not Like Us comes on, and all these kids are screaming, running to the floor. I'm screaming and running to the floor. And I'm like, how do you guys know this? And they knew every word. And so we're all just like screaming the lyrics, bouncing, jumping. But it's just so funny that like the young kids, they know this music, you know?
Well, they all know everything now because of phones. They see it on TikTok. They see it on, you know, whatever new thing they have to learn.
But I was listening to hip hop in high school, but maybe it's where I grew up. Yeah, like everything.
Yeah, but the hip hop that gosh, I don't know. No,
I came from 954, 305.
I'll listen back and be like, boy, 10-year-old me was grinding this like I was gonna do something.
Do you remember that song? You ain't gotta call me a boo, cause as bad as you wanna fuck, I wanna fuck too.
You ain't gotta say too
much from the look in your eyes. Like, I had no business singing that.
12, like, can
And
take
we
it.
were just jamming. We were
What is that?
jamming,
Shout
calling
out
in.
Shelly. That's one of her favorite songs. That is her when she needs to turn the fuck up. That's the song we put on for her.
It's so good. It's so good. Well, that being said, uh,
Anyway,
you know, he told her be careful, and she said not
she said
tonight.
nay. Nay.
Mm-mm. So they end up going back into the stairwell that they originally first met in, and she hesitates for a minute, and he says, "I'm sorry I didn't act like a decent human being that night, because if I did, I could have spent more summers with you. I hope you'll stay. This is the best summer of my life."
Oh, good
Swoon.
self-awareness too, boo boo.
Yeah, it makes me feel too that this is definitely more than a hookup. Like, he really likes her. He
Yeah.
hasn't had a lot of experience dating because he's always been working. I mean, he
Right.
probably definitely like got around,
Yeah.
but no dating, no feelings, no relationships, and now he feels that way. I just thought it was so brilliant that she circled back to this exact stairwell,
Yeah, that was
because
fun.
then Elle, asks him again. This was in the very first scene. What do you want? And he says, you, which she said the very first time. And then this is new. This is new experience for everyone. She says, I want you too, but not in a stairwell. Can you leave? And he goes, I can do whatever I want.
Of course he can.
Yes,
So
Parker.
they GTFO back to his place. They're in the elevator. It's fucking steamy. There's palpable tension. And then Elle kind of gets real with him and she explains how she felt hurt for years. Obviously, we're assuming because of her mom's death, and we still don't really know about her dad or her sister, and that she felt so much and then nothing at all. She went numb and she didn't feel anything until he came when she started hating him. So, and then the fingering.
I was gonna start easy and say they finally kiss for the first or the second time, but you went right into it. So they finally kiss, they slam into each other, they slam right into his apartment, into, like, he presses her against a door.
Hot.
And he said to her, this I about died, I want to buy you this dress in every color just so I can tear it off you.
Hot.
I go, Parker!
Hot.
And she goes, that's it. I want him. I want him right here against the door. And she didn't get the full experience. They did not go all the way.
Correct.
But what did you think of that? What are your thoughts?
I love that they, well, okay, what are my thoughts from Molly's perspective, or what are my thoughts from the book's perspective?
I guess a reader, first and foremost, as you're reading
Okay.
it, what do you think?
So my thought on the book that doesn't articulate how I would feel in real life.
Correct.
Okay. I guess it's actually a little bit similar. I think you should move a little slower. I like that that's what they did, and that was it. I don't know. I think when you sleep with somebody really quickly, now different chemicals start coming into play, and you may not be thinking as clearly because you're already high.
Because this has been a slow burn for them, though, because they've been hanging out for the summer, right? They haven't been doing anything physical.
Right.
So she asks him again what he wants. And he says he wants to do all the things to her. And he also says, I want to hate you because you're all I can think about. Even in important meetings, it's so fucking annoying. But not tonight, he says. And she asks, why? It's only July and you promised me all summer. I intend to take my sweet time enjoying you.
Come on, Parker.
Ooh, Parker. Parker.
I know, that's right.
So he's taking it slow with her. Next chapter, chapter 20, they wake up in bed. Basically a repeat of what happened the night before, you know. They're having some fun, they're playing around, they do not go all the way. And again, you know, I was curious if you thought that that was realistic, but I think so. I think people take things slow. And I like to, even as a reader on that end, to have the build up. You know, there's more to kind of be interested in, like, oh, is this gonna happen? When's this gonna happen? He's traveling right now to San Francisco for a lot of business, and she's writing, and a charity gala comes, and he sends her a personal stylist or shopper, and she tries on all these dresses. The stylist comes with a rack of them. Very pretty woman. Totally was thinking that when I read that too. And Elle goes, do you guys take credit cards?
She laughs, takes the dresses, and leaves. She's like, have fun tonight.
Like, girl.
God bless. I would have said the same thing. I would have at least offered, because I would have felt uncomfortable that somebody's dropped this amount of money.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to pay for this, but do you take credit cards?
Yeah.
Oh
And
God, she
so,
didn't have to.
no.
She looks hot. She looks great, per usual.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to the charity gala for kiddos in Los Angeles. For kids in Los Angeles. They're not in Los Angeles. And then all of a sudden, the CEO of the biggest pharmaceutical company in the world grabs her arm. And she looks shocked, and Parker goes, he's like, get off, let go of her. Who do you think you are? And he's like, who do you think you are? And he's like, I'm Parker. Who are you? And she's like, I'm her dad. And then the chapter ends.
Oof.
What?
You know, I was actually surprised.
Me
I was
too.
just going along for the ride, and then
Me
I go,
too.
oh, and who are you? The boyfriend. Who are you? The dad. And I go,
The dad. 100%.
so
Love it.
now it's making sense.
We're starting to get more information on why, because and Parker addresses this in the next chapter, but when she says, yeah, my father is out of the picture, you just assume, I assume as a reader too, that he's like, maybe like Parker's dad just isn't invested, isn't involved, isn't around. You never think he's a bajillionaire, narcissistic, absolute piece of shit.
Oh, how the turns have tabled.
Oh, the turns of table.
Was that The Office?
No, turns of table is hilarious. It's from, what is that from?
I thought it was from The Office, no?
Yes, it's from the
Yeah,
Office.
yeah. So we go into chapter 21, and oh wait,
Yep, chapter 21.
Yeah.
Because he says, I'm the father, Luke Heimer. Going to chapter 21, and Dad is just dogging her to make Parker mad, right?
Yep.
So they leave, they make it back to the apartment, and she just starts sobbing.
Yep. And we end up learning at this point, because she's sharing everything now with Parker, that her mom said she fell in love with the dad's mind, right? In the very beginning, it was true love. Like, she really was into him. He said he liked taking care of her. And he said to her, stop school, I'll take care of you. She got pregnant with Elle, and they moved to LA, and his caring turned to control.
Yeah.
So he's like, you don't need to learn English. I'll speak for the both of us. The more he made, the more she relied on him to speak for her, to make decisions. And he liked it. He liked her being dependent on him. Yeah. And so she could never leave. And when she got pregnant too, before that, she did give up school. She gave up all of her dreams of what she was going after, which is what's so interesting with her sister, Callie, that she kind of relived the same exact experience that her mom did. And, you know, the mom didn't want her children to live that life. They wanted hers to be a cautionary tale. And so the mom ended up taking the girls, leaving. She worked multiple jobs, was studying, doing all that to raise her girls. However, once she got sick, Elle kind of went
Medical bills are expensive as
Yeah.
hell. It is nasty work. So we're really starting to figure out why Elle is the way she is. And we learned that Dad was abusive, very wealthy, wheeling his money around. Mom was stuck in this controlling situation. She took the girls and she dipped and taught them never be dependent on anybody but yourself. But some people want to be taken care of. And it seems like Callie kind of fell under the wanting to be taken care of. And the dad kind of got her and was able to control her. And she gets to gallivant all over the world. She didn't finish college. She didn't care about learning. She didn't, you know, and now she's with Pierre, who I think is also just happy to have money and be controlled and be, I mean, listen, it's all, people use money to control people. It's a very normal thing. But we also we find out why she wanted to be an anonymous screenplay writer. It wasn't so that she wouldn't get bullied or whatever through, you know, fanfic or what have you, which is fun, which probably was an added benefit, but it really is because she doesn't want him to take credit for the things that she's done. She paid for college by herself, which I believe it was Columbia, which is incredibly expensive. Dad tried to pay for it, and she yelled at the president and said, send that money back, I'm paying for it on my own. She literally has done, she's the opposite of Nepo babied it.
Mm-hmm. And so when she goes to him to get the money for Mom's medical bills, that was tough because she went to New York City, his office in New York City. And I go, oh, that's why she doesn't like it there. That makes so much sense. Yep. And then at first he was kind of normal. And then eventually it was like, well, I do so much for you and your mom. Why don't you meet my other family? Why don't you travel here? And he's just trying to control, control,
Yeah.
control. And at that
Can't help
point,
himself.
yeah, which,
Yeah.
like, you got a second chance. But I guess some people are like that.
It sounds like he's a narcissist or a
Yeah,
sociopath or some kind of personality disorder because it's easy for us to be like, dude, what the fuck? But if you are programmed that way, even real hard therapy won't necessarily save you from that.
yeah. And her mom gave the most beautiful quote. It's so funny that you entered this one too, because when I read it, my heart just fluttered. The mom said, "Some generations are for working so the next can dream." And I was like,
Oh,
oh, I see that. I feel that. And that is just so moving.
yeah. Well,
So
that's
moving.
that's kind of the history of America, right? Not to go down this diatribe, but like you have immigrants from all over the world who have come here to bust their ass so that their kids can try and have a go at living the American dream. I mean, it's incredibly American. It's incredibly beautiful. This is a very powerful part of this story. Um, and yeah, I just thought that was such a stunning quote. That's probably my quote of the week.
Hmm. Quote of the month, really. It
Yeah.
was so good. It was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
good. At this point, she continues to tell all of this to Parker, and he said to her, "I'm not your father, Elle. I'm never going to try to control you." And she said, "I know that." And then he goes on to tell her that he admires her and she handled it really well, the way he spoke to you. And she said seeing her dad reminds her of why it would never work between the two of them. But then she tells him that her name is Elle. Her real name is Elle, and it's not short for anything, and that it really is just her name. And her
yeah.
mom loved the name so much and always wanted to have the name that she gave it to her. Even though she was reminded that she couldn't be with Parker, she still let him in. She was still vulnerable, and that was probably a really special part for them.
Well, and she's saying she can't be with him still, but I think she's trying to convince herself that she can while she's saying it. And
Of
he knows this. So
course.
that's why she's telling him these things and that's why he's
Uh-huh.
not going anywhere. He's
Yep.
very quiet, he's very kind. He listens to her tell her entire story. He doesn't interject, he doesn't anything. It was a very respectful way of receiving somebody's incredibly traumatic life tale.
So after that, we head into chapter 22, and Elle is relieved that she told Parker about her dad.
Hmm.
And Parker's been busy in San Fran because of the acquisition, and he comes home early in a suit, and she's getting ready to go volunteer. And so they're going to be outside pulling weeds and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, where are you going?" She's like, "I'm going to go volunteer." And he goes, "Do you think they could use an extra hand?" And she's looking at him. She's like, "You're in a suit." But it didn't stop him. His whole life being wealthy, he's always just thrown money at it. And now he
Yeah.
wants to actually go. And for him, I thought that that was growth too, because he's never done that.
Yeah,
You know?
dude, there's nothing more fulfilling than getting your hands dirty volunteering in any capacity. And the proverbial dirty, not even necessarily actually dirty by
Right.
planting trees, but like paying it forward, giving back, helping people. Like that's one of the reasons we're doing this game of life, right? And
Hmm.
I feel like the quickest way to get yourself out of a funk or out of kind of a surface depression or whatever it is to go pay it forward somewhere.
Couldn't agree more. And I love that she brought him to do that. And so they end up back right outside of Gramercy Park. And the townhome that Ella's been fixated on for all this time is undergoing renovations. And we find out that Parker has a key, and she's like, "How do you have a key?" And it goes back to when he first told her, "I rent a place here." He has a place in Gramercy Park. I had the thought, I'm like, does he have the townhome that she wants? I
We
don't
know what's
know.
happening, and
Right?
only Mama Val knows, and she can check us. But we know what's happening. He bought the place, and he's renovating it in a way that she loves because she loved his kitchen, and he's getting ready to spend the rest of his life with her.
Ooh.
I just rented a spy, so I just happen to have this key.
Yeah.
No, you
No,
bought
no, no.
that townhouse that's currently being worked on so that it fits her image that she wants. Because they
Yes.
only have like there's 100 keys made. You have
Yep.
to be a resident of that little area of New York City.
Now, isn't Carrie Bradshaw now living in Just Like That? Doesn't she live in Gramercy Park? Is that what I picked up from a few seasons ago?
Maybe.
She always said she wanted a key, and I was like, wait, is it the same place? So, I'll,
If she wanted a key, it has to be Gramercy Park. I don't
right?
know of any other place that is like that, but Sex and the City kind of goes on in the background. I'm not like paying perfect attention. The reboot is
The reboot is going on in the background. The
reboot
original,
is
I am watching full attention, but that's a discussion for another day. They go back home and they're making out some more.
God bless.
The new
Making out
theme.
so fun. God
Of
bless.
course, and I love that for him. And she tells him, "Sometimes I pretend you're mine." And he goes, "Well, you don't have to pretend. I am yours." And she wonders in her head, maybe this can work. Maybe people can change. And it made me curious if you've ever been with someone or dated someone and you were like, wow, maybe they really can change. And maybe it was a positive and they did, or maybe they did not. And I'm just curious of personal experience on that.
Let me say this. Let me say change is oh, okay. Every human, I believe, has an algorithm, right? That's our DNA. That's who we are, what we like, what we don't like, how we act, how we treat people. Nature versus nurture. You're kind of born a certain way, and then nurture can kind of affect that in different ways depending on how you come up. But you always go back to the mean, right? So if you want actual fundamental change, you have to it takes such hard work. And so most people don't do it because it's easier to just not. I think change is incredibly, incredibly hard, but I think it's possible. So I will say, I don't know if I've asked for change in my relationship so much as I'm focused on my change and the girl that accepted the type of relationships I accepted when I was younger versus the type of relationships I accept and expect now are very different. And that's a change, and I'm really proud of myself. So that would be my response to that. I don't know if dudes have changed. I don't know. But I know that I've changed, and I've worked really hard to do it.
And that's all that matters. You're the one who goes to sleep at night with yourself. You wake up with yourself, and you got to love you. You got to do that, which is also another theme of this book, too. I feel like Elle is starting to love herself a little bit more because she is growing. She is doing things she would have never done. And it's so important to step out of your comfort zone and push yourself and try different things and make an effort to be the person you want to be.
The best advice is just stay curious. Because if you stay curious, then you're open to change in all capacities, right? So, but it's easier to not stay curious and to shrink. Because the human body wants to shrink. The world wants to move past you because we're not around for very long, right? And the world moves on without you. So the human evolution is when you're 8 and, life is crazy around you, but you don't know any better. You're kicking a soccer ball, even though, maybe you're in Ukraine and there's horrible things happening, but you don't know because you've got all this adrenaline because you're a kid. And then you start realizing things that are happening, and the brain wants to travel up, curious, and then go back down, right? And start shutting down and going inward, and I think you actively have to fight against that.
Look at you always coming through with these brilliant breakdowns for us. So good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Well, on to the next chapter. We are in chapter 23.
Drama.
Penelope calls Elle at 6:30 in the morning. Mind you, Penelope is West Coast. So that's like if you called me at 6:30, I'd be like,
Who died?
like, what is happening? This is not great. And Elle knows something is up, and she picks up the phone, and Penelope's like, have you seen the news yet? And then there's a ding on her phone, and she looks down. She's been exposed.
Yeah, the world knows. Which you had to have known this was coming. If you were dating the hottest he's all over everywhere, you're dating him to distract from the acquisition drama, but you have to, that's a very dangerous thing for you to be doing as a very successful screenwriter who's keeping a hidden image.
Yep. And we knew that was coming. Like, there was no way that she could have just stayed anonymous and been doing this with him.
So here's my question for you. Do you think that she agreed to this because subconsciously she was tired of keeping this secret?
Ooh, I love that question. Absolutely. Do you?
Mm-hmm.
That makes so much sense, because why would you say yes to this?
You know what's going to happen. Deep down, you know what's going to happen if you attach yourself to this very public figure.
And I think, too, in the beginning, she was miserable. She had writer's block. There was so much in her life that she was unhappy about. And she knew, maybe this is what I need to shake my life up a little bit in a good way,
Yeah.
And that's obviously what happened. And so she's freaking out naturally at first. And the thing that really killed me is that her dad is in this article quoting, "Oh yeah, I helped her. I always knew she could do it." I was like, these comments are diabolical. What are you doing, Dad?
Men are always going to men, okay? They're always going to take credit where they shouldn't.
Like, you weren't even part of this. And then the comment section is like, she only got to where she is because of her dad and her billionaire boyfriend. And she was like, I can't.
It would be heartbreaking. It would be heartbreaking to know that you have built this incredibly successful, impressive career, and then in the span of 1 second, and this is how I know her father is a narcissist, like clinically, because you don't do an interview saying I made all this happen when you very clearly did not, and you know that you didn't, and you still doing it. Like, he's psychologically.
He believes it. He believes it in his head, I bet. Like, oh, because of my life and my money and giving it to her mom, this is all because of me. Guaranteed. And then Parker comes over and he's like, well, I'll buy the newspaper. And that triggers her. It brings her back to the very beginning. I know, but it brings her back to the beginning where he's like, I can buy whatever I want.
Right.
And she goes, so she gets real mad.
As I would have too.
Yeah. Like, you can't
I would have been upset at that.
Buy everything.
Yeah.
Or can you?
Well, you probably can. But I'll say this. Part of my dad always jokes that we're all just ants on this planet, just taking our little crumb from one side of the street to the other, and we do that until we die. And sometimes it's a bigger crumb, sometimes it's a fancier crumb, whatever it is, but we're all doing the same thing. But that's your identity, right? There's so much, there's such beauty in, I think one of the things, not to go off on a tangent, but I think one of the things that we've lost societally is that there's beauty and dignity in work, in a 9 to 5, in a purpose, in providing. And yes, corporations are taking advantage of that and they're not paying what they should, but there's such dignity in having a job, and there's such dignity in what she's created for herself. And for this person to come in and take responsibility, and then for the soul suckingness of the internet to be like, I knew it, she's a Nepo baby, that movie sucked, now I hate this, she's a woman, a woman wrote our favorites. Like, it's just so... it's just such a bummer, and it really, really was a beautiful way of rationalizing Elle's story of hating money and hating, all of that. So really well done, Alex Aster.
Yeah, I agree. That was very much worth the payoff. I go, oh, it all makes sense. It's done so well. So right after he says, I can buy the newspaper, she freaks out and she leaves him. She goes, this will never work. It triggers her. She goes, you used to always say I can buy whatever I want. And she literally breaks up with him. The girlfriends come over and Taryn's like, you can come stay with me. You can't stay here. And so then we go into chapter 24, and Penelope is here at this point too, and there's paparazzi everywhere, and the whole world knows all about it, and all the leeches come out. I mean, when you're front and center, people will come, good or bad. Like, you'll hear it all. And somehow her dad has taken all the credit, which we discussed.
Unbelievable. But what's so cool is that this new version of herself that she's opened up to her female friendships. And that's, like I keep saying, the best thing I've done is really just invest in my female friendships, because we're the ones that stick around with each other well past most things that come in. Of course.
I mean, think about everything you and I have gone through, all the seasons of life and friends and dates and just tragedies, all the things. I mean, we've businesses, like, we've done it all. We've seen it all together. Yep. And that's only, 15 years? Imagine 30 more.
Yeah.
Like,
God bless. God, I love sending Alyssa. I love sending Alyssa that little TikTok of the little old couple holding hands, and then me third wheeling my best friend and her husband until I die. So,
girl, we are going to be going to the movies. We're going to be living it all. I sent you another one the other day, and it was like me and my soulmate, and it was these two best friends holding hands, and they pan up to the husband, and he's like rolling his eyes at them. Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, sorry flat.
So we go back to her place after, a night with the girlfriends, and
one cool thing they said, though, is they go, the internet isn't real. What's real is here with us. And I love that, because especially right now, we forget, like, I knock on wood, God, but a biggest nightmare would be to have something come out and have the whole world have their eyes on you and attacking you for who knows how long, right? Because
Yep.
that's what the internet allows now. And so the fact that she is having to be reminded, but the fact that she has these women around her that are like, put your phone away,
Amazing.
turn it off. It's
You
okay.
know, I think it was Tom Holland who said, if you have a problem with me, text me. And if you don't have my number, then you're not allowed to have a problem with me.
Ooh.
So they go back to Elle's place, and
Mhm.
Penelope is there hanging out with Luke, the contractor, doing some not so, I guess, some friendly things.
No, not friendly. Well, she's been telling all the girls she's like got a big crush. Good one fun thing is that Penelope fits right in with Elle's new girl group. So they're all
Love.
kikiing, eating pizza, ice cream, drinking wine, gossiping, whatever, having so much fun. And then yeah, when they go back to the apartment, Luke walks out. And excuse me. It's like 6 in the morning. What are you doing here? He's like, so
Gotta
they're
go.
obviously we need a side book of Luke and Penelope.
Yes. And I guess Callie's plan worked, but with the wrong girl, not her sister, but with sister's bestie.
Right.
I guess
Luke,
that's always going to happen, though, if you throw an attractive guy into the
who's
story.
6'4"? Sorry, there's three of them exist in this world, and two of them are married. A 6'4" contractor? Is that not the dream? Like, give me a contractor who can like fix my plumbing.
Good with his hands.
Good with his hands. Good with his hands. Let's go. That's what my dad. My dad's like, I want you to marry a plumber. Just marry a plumber,
Ooh.
please. I was like, I'm not opposed to it.
You know, I will tell you something I love about Freddie is that he does all the house stuff. I mean, because his
Hot.
dad did all of that
Yep.
and he's learned he can do anything and he
Great.
does it without me asking. And even the crown molding in our house, it's crazy. Doing the floors, he pulled all
Yeah.
the carpet up and put hardwood in. And I was like,
Insane. DIY king.
yeah,
Love
yeah,
it.
I love it. It's so good. One of
Shout
my
out, yeah.
favorites. So it is nice to have that because I don't know if I've ever, it's been so long, but like been with someone who could do those sorts of things. Like anything around the
Ooh.
house, this man's got it covered, honey.
Yeah, that would be great. I've learned I do everything around the house because I've lived here for ever.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
have to learn when it's your place, you have to learn. Like I've figured out how to do all kinds of stuff. So I don't
Yeah.
need a man, but I
Like,
like
I don't need it. I got this girl. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, I can't figure out the microphone. Producer Fred isn't home. Technical difficulties literally halfway through this. I was like, oh my God, Molly, my mic's not on. And I'm calling him. I'm like, what do I do?
So if it sounded weird for the first like 20 minutes, that's what happened. So we're sorry. Listen, we're new at this, okay? We're
We're
doing the
working
best
through
we
it. That's
can.
right. That's right. So dependent. But I'm loving where this book is going. I'm
Yeah.
having so much fun. I'm really excited to read the last bit, which is going to be
Hmm.
chapters, what, 25 to 32 for next
Yes.
week?
Yep.
And we're going to get the big finale, and
Yep.
they better get together. I better get my scene. I need a little romance. I need them to get back together. They're obviously not going to stay apart. I hope not.
No, of course not. They're gonna live in their little Gramercy apartment that he bought for them.
I hope so. I will say, though, I read a comment and I clicked out of it really quick, and someone was like, I hated the ending. And I don't know what that means, but it could have just been someone, I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, you teed me up perfectly because I was just about to ask you. So I'm on my side piece book, Powerless. I'm
Ooh,
reading Fearless, book
yes.
3. And something devastating happened. And it was like 2 in the morning. Shouldn't have been up last night, but I was up reading my
Of
side piece
course.
book. And I Googled if that's true, somebody dies. And I Google it and I spoiled it for myself. I'll still read it and I'll still love it, but sometimes my anxiety won't allow me to find out naturally.
Oh, you like to find out ahead of time.
Yes. Sometimes I don't, but sometimes I can't handle it. For this, I will never Google anything because I genuinely want a real reaction. But for my side piece books, sometimes something so crazy happens that I have to make sure that that's not real.
See,
How do you
I
feel
can't
about that?
I can't do that. If
Me either.
anyone tells me anything, if I know I'm reading a book, I don't look it up on Instagram, TikTok, Google. Like, I don't want to spoil anything because it will
Right.
ruin it for me. I can't. It really pisses me off. Even when my mom
Okay.
was texting me some of that stuff, I was like, no.
Hillary,
Boom.
microphone Parker style.
Yeah, yeah. Except I'm not a billionaire with a hand delivered one
Now you
10
don't have a
minutes
phone.
later. Now I'm phoneless and I had know the
And I'm
spoilers.
pissed.
Damn it.
Oh my
So yeah, I don't love a spoiler, and I really try to stay very, very far away
Right.
when it comes to that. So no spoilers here. But yeah, next week we'll do chapters 25 to 32. And then we're going to come, I think, with some new books for July. I can't believe we're already... How?
I don't know.
We are just flying by.
It's fantastic. I love it. I
love it. And I think, again, we should do the poll on Instagram.
Yeah,
so
we'll do a poll.
Make sure you're following at A Novel Bunch podcast. We do the poll there for which book you guys want to read for the following month. And I'm excited. I love it's a book a month because it's new energy that you're getting at the beginning of the month. I'm like, oh, excited. You know, new world, new characters. And then, you know, we go from there.
Yeah. We can't wait.
So we will see everyone next time. Thanks for hanging out with us, Bunchies. We love you so much. And we'll see you next week.